In a small village tucked between Ghana's coastal cities, Adoley would sit every evening by her window, scrolling through her phone in the glow of the setting sun. Her eyes would linger on pictures of women with hourglass figures, flawless skin, and an effortless air of confidence. These women, stars on social media, lived lives that seemed almost magical to Adoley, a world far removed from her own. Life in Adoley's village was humble, but her heart ached with dreams that stretched beyond the dusty paths and simple homes. Her family was poor, but they were close-knit. Her mother had raised her and her brother Adoley on the foundation of hard work and faith, reminding them daily of the beauty within that no one could ever take away. Yet Adoley couldn't shake the thought that the world might see her differently if only she looked the part. One fateful day, Auntie Nana returned from abroad, captivating everyone in town. Once an ordinary woman, Nana had transformed herself into a vision of beauty and opulence. Her skin was flawless, her curves carefully sculpted, and she walked with a confidence that Adoley had never seen. Adoley, fascinated, found herself drawn to the woman, eager to learn her secrets. Auntie Nana noticed Adoley's curiosity and took her under her wing. "My dear, beauty is power," Nana would say, resting a hand on Adoley's shoulder. "The world gives you anything you want if you look the part." Adoley listened intently as Nana spoke about the doors beauty could open and the confidence it could bring. She shared tales of her surgeries abroad, hinting that these transformations were investments, gateways to respect and admiration. But Efwa, Adoley's childhood friend, remained skeptical. She saw Nana's influence over Adoley and worried. "Beauty is nothing if it costs you your peace, Adoley," Efwa said one evening as they watched Nana chatting with the village women. "Do you even know what those surgeries entail? You are perfect as you are." Yet Adoley brushed off her friend's concerns. She began saving every cedi she could, convinced that a Brazilian butt lift, a procedure she had read about, would give her the look she dreamed of and the life she felt she was destined to live. In her mind, she saw herself as one of the beautiful women she followed online, admired by thousands, respected and envied. She didn't see the risk. She only saw the life she could have if she looked perfect. As weeks turned into months, Adoley's obsession grew. She kept her plan a secret, hiding her savings and plotting her escape to Accra, where she had found a surgeon who could do the BBL for a price she could afford. She told her family about a job opportunity in the city, weaving a web of lies that left Adoley and her mother with mixed feelings of pride and worry. They knew Adoley was ambitious, but something in her eyes seemed different. One evening, as she packed her few belongings, Efwa caught her looking wistfully into a mirror, tracing the outline of her frame. "Are you really going to change everything about yourself?" Efwa asked, her voice tinged with sadness. "What if something goes wrong?" "Nothing will go wrong, Efwa," Adoley replied, forcing a smile. "This is my chance to be someone, to live a life that means something." With that, she hugged her friend goodbye, promising to call as soon as she settled in the city. The suspense of her secret departure weighed heavy as Adoley took a bus to Accra, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and fear. As the bus rumbled through the night, she clutched her phone, scrolling once more through the images of perfection, reassuring herself that her sacrifice was worth it. In the bustling city of Accra, Adoley arrived at the clinic of Dr. Lopez, a man notorious for his controversial cosmetic work, but lauded for his affordable prices. The clinic was nothing like the pristine, luxurious images she had seen online. It was modest, with faded paint on the walls and an air of weariness that Adoley tried to ignore. Dr. Lopez was charming, with a calm demeanor that put Adoley's nerves at ease. He spoke about beauty as if it were an art, dismissing the risks as minor inconveniences. "Your dreams are valid," he said smoothly, "and beauty, my dear, is a journey. Trust me, you will love what you see." Her nerves subsided under his reassurances. And though Ife's words echoed faintly in her mind, Adoley pushed them aside. This was her moment. The next day, she was scheduled for surgery. The operating room was cold, sterile, and foreboding. Adoley felt her heart hammering as Dr. Lopez and his assistants prepared the anesthesia. A sense of dread crept into her mind, but she swallowed it, forcing herself to think of the life waiting on the other side of this transformation. As the anesthesia took effect, Adoley's last thought was a brief flicker of doubt, but the sedative dulled it quickly. Dr. Lopez worked with efficiency, yet somewhere in the process, something went terribly wrong. A complication that his assistants noticed but failed to address fully. They whispered among themselves, trying to stabilize her as the minutes ticked by. When Adoley opened her eyes, a dull throbbing pain greeted her. She struggled to focus, blinking at the dim light above her. She felt strange, as if her body no longer belonged to her. Every breath felt heavy, and her muscles ached with a raw, unyielding pain. She tried to sit up, but a nurse hurried over, pressing her back down gently. "Rest, Adoley," the nurse said, a look of worry hidden behind her forced smile. "Dr. Lopez will check on you soon." But something in the nurse's eyes seemed off, as if there was something unsaid, something wrong. Adoley's vision blurred in and out, and panic began to creep in. She tried to ask questions, but her voice came out weak and slurred. As she lay there, fear started to take hold. In her mind, she tried to recall Dr. Lopez's words, the promises he had made. She had risked everything for this surgery, and now she wasn't sure she could even stand up on her own. Hours passed in a haze. Dr. Lopez eventually appeared, his expression unreadable. "You'll be all right, Adoley," he said, but his words felt empty and rehearsed. "A few more days of rest and you'll be able to go home." But each day that passed, Adoley felt her condition worsening. A fiery pain radiated through her lower back, spreading to her legs. Moving was torture, and even breathing felt like a struggle. Despite her complaints, the clinic staff seemed unfazed, reassuring her that these were normal side effects. By the fourth day, Adoley's condition was dire. Feverish and weak, she could hardly keep her eyes open. The mirror across the room taunted her with the image of someone she barely recognized. A face hollowed by exhaustion, eyes dull and sunken. The confidence she had craved, the beauty she had sacrificed for, felt like a distant, unreachable dream. Desperation clawed at her, and Adoley tried calling Ifwa. Her hands shook as she dialed the number, barely able to press the buttons. "Hello." Ifwa's voice was warm, familiar, a reminder of home and comfort. "Ifwa," Adoley's voice was a strained whisper, trembling with pain. I need help. Ife's tone changed instantly. Adoley, are you okay? Where are you? But before Adoley could respond, her vision darkened and the phone slipped from her grasp. She drifted in and out of consciousness, the pain gnawing at her, making her regret every decision that had led her to this point. Back in her village, Ife's worry grew. She hadn't heard from Adoley since the cryptic call, and something inside her warned that her friend was in grave danger. She went to Adoley, who had also been concerned about his sister's sudden silence. We need to find her, Ifewa insisted, her voice laced with urgency. Adoley agreed, and two of them quickly made plans to go to Accra. They had only fragments of information, but Ifewa was certain that they would find her friend. The suspense built as they searched, each passing hour intensifying their fear. They began combing through clinics, making desperate inquiries. Many turned them away, but they finally stumbled upon Dr. Lopez's clinic. When they arrived, the receptionist hesitated, eyeing them warily before finally relenting. She's in recovery, the receptionist said, but her words didn't mask the unease in her expression. Guided by a nurse, Adoley and Ifewa rushed to Adoley's room, their hearts pounding. The sight that greeted them shattered Ifewa's heart. Adoley lay motionless, pale and gaunt, barely clinging to consciousness. Tubes and machines surrounded her, a stark contrast to the vibrant, ambitious young woman she had been only days before. The change was devastating, and Ifewa struggled to hold back tears. Adoley whispered, reaching for her hand. Her eyes flickered open, faint recognition crossing her face. She attempted a weak smile, but it quickly dissolved into a grimace of pain. Why did you come? She managed to whisper. To take you home, Adoley replied, his voice breaking. Adoley looked away, guilt and shame mingling in her eyes. She had wanted so much to escape, to be someone worthy of admiration. And yet, here she was, broken, fragile, barely able to recognize herself. Dr. Lopez finally entered, his demeanor shifting from feigned compassion to defensiveness. He deflected their questions, insisting that Adoley's symptoms were typical. But Ifewa and Adoley were not convinced. They demanded that Adoley be released immediately, determined to get her to a proper hospital. The journey out of the hospital was filled with dread. Adoley, fading in and out of consciousness, would occasionally reach for Adoley's hand, whispering apologies, regrets, memories of her dreams. Ifewa watched her, helpless and heartbroken, feeling the weight of her friend's suffering like a physical ache. Despite their best efforts, Adoley's conditions continued to worsen. By the time they reached the hospital, her body was shutting down. The doctors worked frantically, but the damage was too extensive. As dawn broke, Adoley slipped away, her hand resting in her brother's, her final breath a whisper of the dreams she had lost. The news of Adoley's passing spread through her village, a sobering reminder of the dangers lurking behind society's standards of beauty. Auntie Nana, once idolized, faced the silent judgment of the community. The allure she had once held faded, leaving behind only a memory of Adoley's tragedy. Ifewa and Adoley mourned her deeply, their sorrow mingled with anger at the system that had failed her. They shared her story, hoping to prevent others from falling into the same trap. Adoley's tale became a haunting caution in the village, a symbol of the price that some paid in their search for perfection. And so, the memory of Adoley lingered, a reminder that beauty, though captivating, could never be worth one's life.